You see, when you read Paul's life in 2 Corinthians 7, chapter 12, verse 7 to 10, and where Paul prayed about his adversary, the difficulty which he was facing. And what God answered him, he said, "My grace is sufficient for you. My grace is sufficient for you." And the apostle prayed. Let me read one verse from Bible where Paul talks about his own self, and to the letter he wrote to Philippians, chapter 4 and verse 11 to 13. I like to draw your attention to. And you see, like God says, "My grace is sufficient for you." Though you might be facing difficulty, adverse situation in your life, but God is able to help you, sustain you. And so Paul says, "Okay, God, your grace is sufficient for me." And therefore, writing to the Philippians, he said, chapter 4, verse 11 to 13. And I like to read those verses. Here it says, "Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all times I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. And I can do all things," and this is the secret he is telling, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." What a great thing, yes, the secret he has revealed to us. I can do all things who is able to strengthen me, who has strengthened me. And so I truly encourage you, if you are facing difficulties or hard time in your life, this morning I like to encourage you that God is able to sustain you. He is able to sustain you. I think my time almost running out, and I do not want to go very long. But still, some of the things I like that you carry with you as you go out of this church. So the fourth answer is in Ephesians. And the fourth answer is found in Ephesians 3, verse 20. It says, here we learn that He is able to supply every need in answer to prayer. We must trust Him to do this, for He will do it according to our faith. And here Ephesians, writing to the Ephesian church, Paul says in chapter 3 and verse 20, he very firmly says, "Now to Him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us." He is able to do. And let me again remind you, dear friends, brothers and sisters, that He is able to meet all our needs. How many times we worry so much to meet our needs? We run here and there. Somehow we want to meet our needs. And we worry a lot. But we forget that God is able to meet all our needs. If we ask Him, even we can ask or imagine, He is able to do exceedingly great, abundantly for us. So He is able to supply every need in answer to prayer. And finally, the last answer which I found is from the letter of Jude. And many times you have heard those words of benediction. What God is able to do for us. And here the fifth thing which we see in Jude verse 24. And here it said, "Now to Him who is able to keep you from stumbling and to present you faultless before the presence of His glory with exceedingly joy. To God our Savior, who alone is wise, the glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever." What He is able to do? Now what a privilege we have. That as we walk in this life, we know that one day God has prepared a place for each one of us, and we will be reaching to Him. One day, what we call a heaven, God has prepared for us. And as we travel in this life, trusting Him. We have to go across, we have to face many temptations, many sufferings, and yet we know God is able to sustain us. He is able to keep us till the last day we reach in His presence. And where people from all over the world, all over the language, we will see a lot of people there. They will be there to praise our wonderful God. And therefore, Jesus this morning asked us the same question to us. Do you believe I am able to do this? We will say, yes, Lord, I believe. And then He will say, according to your faith,